Hi guys, and welcome to episode 25. So today I'd like to talk about something that happens way too often in my opinion, and that's being asked to play for free. So you've probably seen a lot about musicians being offered, exposure. Maybe it's just a meal, or sometimes it's like, no, we won't pay you, but you won't have to pay us to play at our event. And I think there's this thing where people think that if you're a busker, you're taking donations from people and so they don't have to pay you. But out of a lot of experience, I've found whenever I've taken these gigs that don't pay, if it's like an event or a market, the mindset of your audience seems to be that, well, she must have been paid to play at this event. You just don't get as many donations, and they can be extremely disappointing. So what a lot of buskers do to combat this is they require a retainer payment, which is generally a lot less than their hourly rate for, say, birthday parties or functions, and then they take busking donations as well. So for instance, you might ask for a $50 retainer and then take busking funds for maybe an hour or two of performance. I guess it depends, because you set your rates, how much you actually want to play the gig. If you're interested to see it, you might go a little bit lower depending on the amount of hours. It's really all up to you, and that's great, but then you can get that pressure, well, can you do it any cheaper? And there's a lot of negotiating, and I guess you've just got to have strength to stick to your guns and make sure that you are valuing yourself, because it is your time that you will be spending, and time is money. But I think the biggest thing is knowing that what you do has value, and you shouldn't have to provide that for free. You've got to think about all the things. So firstly, if you're driving a car, you are using petrol to get to the event. If you're taking public transport, you are paying for that in money and time. And then when you get there, you have to set up your gear. And at events, it's not like your regular busking pitch where you've done it a heap of times and you just straight away from your car to your spot. It's working out, where am I parking, how far is my spot from here, and occasionally there's changes and you have to go in a different place. You might have to find someone to take you to your spot. So that time adds up, and that's before you've even started performing. So then you're there and you're performing for however long, and as I said, it's quite disappointing when you've put in all this energy and then people think that you've been paid, and so you don't get those donations like you usually would. After all of that, you've got to pack up your gear, get it back to the car, go home, or get it back to the bus, or taxi or a train, whatever. Maybe even you've cycled there, who knows. But there's a lot more that goes into it, and you deserve to be paid. And I have to say, now at the stage I'm at, it really does aggravate me when someone asks me to come and perform at their event for free. Because that's what it is. I've come away with less than $10 multiple times at events, and if I did not have a retainer payment, then it would just not have been worth me even going. And it amazes me how this still shocks people. Like, we don't ask you to go somewhere and work for free, so why are you asking me to go and work for free? Yes, I enjoy what I do, but it's still my job, and I still have bills to pay, and that time could be spent in another location making a lot more. So you need to give me something to entice me to come to your event. If you're not going to pay me a full amount like a regular gig, then you at least need to give me a retainer. It especially gets to me when they're like, hey, you don't have to pay anything to come and play at our event. really, well, I wouldn't have to pay anything to not go and play at your event either. So I feel like every time someone accepts one of these gigs, it sort of strengthens that idea that musicians don't deserve to be paid, which is so untrue. Now, I realize sometimes they're asking for a charity event, and it's up to you. You can choose to donate your time, but you will get asked to do a number of charity events, and you kind of have to decide on each one, do I want to give to this cause? And I guess that can say, like, you're being selfish if you don't do all the charity events, but there are a lot, and you still need to survive. And I think free gigs, they have their place. If you're just starting out and you're not very confident, then why not go somewhere where you're not being paid, just to give yourself a stage and get some experience. And if you stuff the whole thing up, well, you weren't being paid for it, so you gave it a go. But for anyone who's been in the industry for a while and they've got experience and they are working at this professionally, don't accept free gigs. Just do yourself a favor and show that your performances are worth something. Guys, I'm really hungry, and so maybe I'm just like making no sense and just like hangry or whatever. But it's something I feel really strongly about, and I finally got an opportunity to sit down and film, so hopefully you did still enjoy this episode, and I will be back with probably a lot lighter sort of episode next time. I'll see you then. Bye.